In the past couple of years, Viktor Gyökeres has come out of nowhere and has completely exploded onto the footballing scene, becoming one of the most deadly and lethal strikers in the entire world for Sporting and the Swedish national team, even being nicknamed as the next Zlatan Ibrahimović for his country. But what some people don't know about Gyökeres is earlier on in his career, he was actually labeled as a flop at Brighton Hove Albion and Swansea City, and it didn't seem like he would be anything special in his career. Fast forward to today, he's one of the most informed and hottest footballers in the game right now. So how did Viktor Gyökeres essentially come out of nowhere, overcome the initial doubt, and become one of the best strikers in the world? Well, let's take a look at the rise of Viktor Gyökeres. Now, Viktor Gyökeres was born on June 4th, 1998 in the capital of Sweden, Stockholm, and he was obsessed with football practically since he was born. His father, Stefan Gyökeres, is also a football fanatic and was a youth coach, and he helped develop Gyökeres ever since he was a child. Speaking of that, by the time Viktor turned 5 years old, he was already part of a local football club called IF Brommapojkarna and played with them for around 9 years. When Gyökeres turned 14 years old, he ended up joining a professional Swedish club called Brommapojkarna, who was a top flight Swedish side at the time. Excuse my pronunciation for the club name, by the way. It's a long and complicated ass name, bro, so allow me. Anyways, Gyökeres would obviously start with the youth teams for Brommapojkarna, since he was too young for the first team when he first joined. But after playing with the youth side for 2 years, he developed and progressed so quickly that he got his senior debut soon after. And something that actually might have helped him get his senior team debut so fast is the fact that Brommapojkarna, the Swedish club, got relegated to the second division of Sweden. And this definitely helped Gyökeres fast track himself to the senior side. Now, Gyökeres would also score his first goal for the club in a 3-0 Svenska Cupen win over IF Sylvia, another Swedish side. However, for the following campaign, Brommapojkarna would actually get relegated once again, and this time they would be in the third tier of Swedish football. But once again, Gyökeres would actually take advantage of the situation and secured his spot in the starting 11, and even bagged 7 goals to help secure promotion back to the second division in Sweden. Now, in the middle of all this, Gyökeres would actually be called up to represent the Sweden national team's under-19 side, and Gyökeres would be the key player in helping them secure a spot at the 2017 UEFA European Under-19 Championship, with him scoring the winning goal against Italy to help Sweden qualify for the tournament for the first time. Then, even though Sweden absolutely stunk up the tournament, finishing last place in a group with Georgia, Czech Republic, and Portugal, he actually ended up scoring in all 3 group stage games. And with 3 goals, he shared the Golden Boot award with a couple other players. Obviously, performances like these in a youth international competition is going to catch eyes from top European clubs, which is why youth tournaments are so important. So much so that in the following campaign, in the middle of the Swedish 17-18 season, Gyökeres would actually sign a 2.5-year contract with the Premier League side Brighton Hove Albion, with him being set to join the English club after the Swedish season concluded. And by the time the league ended, Viktor Gyökeres would have 13 goals in 29 appearances, including a hat-trick on the final day, which helped Brommapojkarna secure promotion to the first division of Swedish football, the Allsvenskan, as league champions. And these performances and him being at the forefront of Brommapojkarna as they got back-to-back promotions would definitely show glimpses on why there was a good player inside of him, which is why Brighton would sign him in the first place. I mean, Brighton have world-class scouts, bro. They wouldn't have signed him if they didn't think he could end up being a good player. And they would be right. He would turn out to be a great player. But the truth is, he was a complete miss for Brighton specifically. We'll get to that shortly though. Now, when Gyökeres joined Brighton in January 2018, he wouldn't actually play for their first team, but rather the under-23 side, where he bagged 14 goals and got 5 assists for them in 31 games. Then, after he played with them for 10 months until the end of August, he got his senior team debut in the 1-0 loss to Southampton in the Carabao Cup, and then got his FA Cup debut in January 2019 in a 0-0 draw to West Brom. Now, as you can clearly see, Viktor Gyökeres was not getting any game time with Brighton. In fact, those 2 appearances that I just mentioned were like the only somewhat significant things that he did for the English club at the time. So in July 2019, Viktor Gyökeres would get permission from Brighton to go out on loan, and he moved to the German second tier side St Pauli for the 1920 campaign. Now, Viktor would actually perform somewhat well, since this was his first time playing football regularly outside of Sweden, and on top of scoring in his debut for the German club in a 2-0 home victory over SV Sandhausen, Gyökeres got a grand total of 7 goals and 4 assists in 28 games. Not the best stats for a footballer who plays the number 9 position, but for his first full-fledged season, this ain't half bad. The thing is though, these performances weren't enough for Brighton to give him more consistent chances with the first team. However, before Gyökeres left again, he would actually score his first and only goal for Brighton in the Carabao Cup second round clash against Portsmouth in September, getting a goal and an assist in their 4-0 win against them. And fun fact, Alexis McAllister scored his first ever goal for Brighton in this match too, and now he's doing great things for Liverpool and the Argentinian national team, winning the World Cup with them too, obviously. But now, both of these players have become great and world class in the sport of football, but it's so crazy to see how different their journeys to the top were. Regardless, I digress. What's important here is even though Gyökeres scored for Brighton, he was sent out on loan to Swansea City FC, who were and still are in the EFL Championship. And to put it bluntly, this move to Swansea didn't go well at all. Like, Gyökeres was absolutely booty cheeks for the second tier English club. In fact, in the 11 league games he played for Swansea, getting a good chunk of game time by the way, he failed to register a single goal contribution, meaning no goals and no assists whatsoever. However, Gyökeres would score a goal for Swansea, and it was in the 3rd round FA Cup tie against Stevenage, a League 2 side at the time. And Gyökeres' goal helped Swansea beat them 2-0 away from home. Aside from that though, Gyökeres would do nothing for the Swans, and this loan move was so bad that although it was a full season loan deal, the contract got terminated. Gyökeres went back to Brighton in January. Yeah, that's not what you want to see from a loanee. However, Steve Cooper, the Swansea head coach at the time, did say that the timing of Gyökeres at Swansea just wasn't right, and there's definitely a good player in him, but it just wasn't going to work out with them. And shout out to Steve Cooper because he was right. In fact, in January 2021, Brighton would send Gyökeres back out on loan, but this time to another championship side in Coventry City. And this is when Gyökeres would turn his luck around in his career, and he would start transcending upwards professionally. Now, during his 6-month loan spell from January to June 2021, Gyökeres would get a lot of minutes for Coventry, and he would score 3 goals for them in the championship. Now, this isn't a great output for a striker, but the manager and coaches at Coventry were so convinced of his talent that they signed him permanently for Brighton in the summer for 1.2 million euros. And wow, what a bargain this was, huh? That's because in the 21-22 season, Gyökeres would finally start to showcase how talented and lethal he was as a player, with him bagging a grand total of 18 goals and 5 assists in 47 games, with 17 of those goals coming in the championship alone. It seemed like this gamble that Coventry took paid off, and his output for Coventry literally came out of nowhere. But if you thought this was good, just wait until I go over the 2022-23 campaign right now, because he was an absolute monster in this season. In the 50 games he played for Coventry in this campaign, he scored a grand total of 22 goals and got 12 assists, a huge increase of goal output from the season prior, a season where he performed great too. Not only that, he was available for every single game in this campaign, showcasing the best ability in the sport, availability. Additionally, he was named the EFL Championship Player of the Month twice during the 22-23 campaign, once in November after scoring 4 goals in 4 games, and the other time in March 2023, after he scored 3 goals and got 3 assists in that month. Plus, he was named in the PFA Team of the Year for the championship that season, and also the EFL Championship Team of the season too. He pretty much swept individual accolades in the championship that campaign. But we're still not done yet though, because Gyökeres almost single-handedly carried Coventry to a Premier League promotion, with him playing a pivotal role in getting Coventry to the playoff final against Luton Town. But sadly, in the penalty shootout, Coventry lost, and Luton Town were promoted instead. If Gyökeres got Coventry to the Premier League, wow, his career would be looking mighty different for real. Because you see, when you have a player in your ranks that can score 20 plus goals, it's gonna be hard to keep a hold of him if you're not in the Premier League. And that's the situation that Coventry faced, having to sell their best player, with teams like Wolverhampton Wanderers, Burnley, Brentford, and Leeds all knocking on Coventry's door trying to secure his signature. But Gyökeres didn't want to play for another English club that could be at risk of relegation from the Premier League. He didn't want to risk playing in the championship again, especially that it was clear that he was destined for the very top of football. So that's when he decided to leave England altogether and join the Portuguese giant Sporting CP on July 13th, 2023, signing a 4-year contract with the Portuguese club for a club record transfer fee of 20 million euros, with an additional 4 million euros in bonuses, a 10 to 15% future transfer fee reserved for Coventry, and a 100 million euro release clause for it. You don't slap a 100 million euro release clause on any normal player, bruh. Sporting and honestly the entire football world at this point knew that Gyökeres had a lot of potential that he could live up to. The only question was, could he actually live up to this sky-high potential? And let me assure you guys that yes he can. But before we get to Gyökeres' time at Sporting, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it and it means a lot, so thank you. And also, if you guys can, follow my Twitter and my Instagram, both at Nabuto, if you just want to hear my thoughts on football games, transfers, and overall just to get to know me more. And also, make sure to join the Discord server, link in the description, and follow me on Twitch. Live streams coming soon. So if you want to, feel free to hit me up with that follow. Thank you. Back to topic, Viktor Gyökeres would make his debut for Sporting in the home game against Vizela, and he proceeded to score a brace on his debut in a 3-2 victory. And shortly after that, he would make his debut in a European competition, this time the Europa League, and he would score a goal as well in the 2-1 win away at Sturm Graz. So with that, I'm sure you guys know where I'm headed. If you're scoring more than a couple of goals in your debuts in multiple competitions, you know you're headed for an all-timer season. And oh boy, he was. Between September 2022 to January 2023, Gyökeres would score 13 goals and provide 6 assists, and this would lead him to being named the league's player of the month and forward of the month for 5 consecutive months. Do you know how crazy it is to be named player of the month 5 consecutive times? Nah, this dude Gyökeres is built different. Plus, in April too, he would add another player of the month and forward of the month to his campaign. On top of that, Gyökeres would play a huge part in helping Sporting secure their 20th Primeira Liga title. And along with this, Gyökeres will win the Golden Boot in his first season in the Portuguese top flight, with him scoring 29 goals just in the Portuguese league alone, becoming the second Swedish player to win the top scorer award in Portugal. And with him having a grand total of 43 goals and providing 15 assists in just 50 games for Sporting in this 23-24 campaign, it was only right that he was awarded with the best player of the Primeira Liga award, and also being named in the best 11 of the season in Portugal as well. Now, even though after the campaign, there were a few suitors who wanted Viktor Gyökeres to join their club, he decided that it was best to remain at Sporting for the 24-25 season. And this was probably because he got surgery on his left knee during the summer, so he probably wanted to prove to himself that he still got it post-injury. And let me tell you right now, he definitely does. So far in this 2024-25 campaign, he has scored 23 goals and got 4 assists in just 18 games, having another crazy goal scoring / providing output in back-to-back seasons. Don't be surprised if this dude manages to to bag more than 43 goals this season too. Because if he remains healthy throughout this entire campaign, Gyökeres could definitely do that. Also, so far, more specifically, he became the Portuguese league's highest top scorer in the 21st century, earned another Player of the Month and Forward of the Month in August, and scored on his Champions League debut against Lille and Sporting's 2-0 win, also being named Man of the Match as well. Then in early November, Gyökeres will be the second Swedish player, only after the one and only Zlatan Ibrahimović, to score a hat-trick in the Champions League era after he scored one against Manchester City out of all teams in a 4-1 victory for Sporting. Yeah, you heard me correct. Gyökeres bagged a hattie against the ever-so-strong Man City, handing Pep Guardiola and his team a fat L. As a Liverpool fan, thank you, Gyökeres. I appreciate you. Obviously, with a goal-scoring output like this, it's not going to be long until Gyökeres joins a top European club. Maybe it'll be Barcelona, who are looking for a world-class 9 as Lewandowski is only getting older, or maybe it'll be back in the Premier League. Maybe Manchester United with his old Sporting coach, Ruben Amorim, taking over there, or maybe Arsenal, with them desperate to find some sort of number 9 right now. But what I can tell you is that whoever gets this guy is going to get the real deal. And no, I almost forgot. Gyökeres is also currently being nicknamed as the next Zlatan Ibrahimović for the Swedish national team. And I can't blame the Swedish fans for giving this nickname to Gyökeres. They need someone to put their hopes on after missing the 2022 World Cup and the 2024 Euros. This nickname also kind of makes sense though. I mean, in just 24 games for Sweden, he's got 10 goals, which is pretty good so far in his young international career. Personally, for me, I just can't wait to see this Isak-Gyökeres duo on the international stage. This is going to be fun. But anyways, I hope you guys learned a thing or two on Viktor Gyökeres' rise to the top. And if you enjoyed this one, please remember to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Also, follow my Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and join the Discord community. All the links are in my YouTube description. And last but not least, if you want to learn about the rise of Lautaro Martinez, who is also one of the best strikers in the world right now, you definitely want to check out this video right here. You won't regret it.